Hello all. Today we are going to start password hash synchronization. In password hash synchronization, we synchronize our on-prem Active Directory with Azure Active Directory. For this process, we need a tool known as Azure AD Connect. First of all, we set up our on-prem environment. In our on-prem environment, we create a virtual machine and configure it as our domain controller. And on another virtual machine, we install Azure AD Connect tool. To start this tutorial from a very basic level, we need Hyper-V. So here I am showing you a link which shows the complete description of how to install Hyper-V on Windows 10. As I already have installed Hyper-V on my machine, so first of all I am going to create a virtual switch. The virtual switch is of external type. Now after creating the virtual switch, I am going to create a new virtual machine. The virtual machine, I am going to name it as DC server, as I am going to configure it as my domain controller. I am going to connect it with the new virtual switch which I have been created, and we don't need such a large memory, so 12 GB is enough. I have Windows Server 2016 set up in my laptop and I am going to install it on my virtual machine. Now my virtual machine has been created. We are going to connect it. Now we are going to install Windows in it. As we are installing Windows, you should have to install desktop experience. Okay, now Windows is installing on our this VM. In this time, we are going to create another VM for our AD Connect tool. So let's start. New virtual machine. I'm going to name it as AD Connect VM. Connected with the virtual switch which we have been created, and memory, install. You need the Windows Server 2012 R2 or above for Azure AD Connect tool. So I am installing Windows Server 2016 again. Look, this window is also created. This VM is also created, and now we are going to install virtual Windows in it also. Now Windows have been installed, and I am entering a password. This is AD Connect. No. So now I am going to do the configurations for my DC server. First of all, I am going to change its name as DC server. Okay. Now it have to restart my computer. Okay. At that time, I'm also going to change the name of my other virtual machine. I'm going to name it as AD Connect. AD Connect. Okay. Now I'm going to do configurations in my AD server. First of all, I am going to install DNS and Active Directory tools. From add roles and features. Next. I am choosing Active Directory domain services, add feature, and DNS server. Install. Now these features are installed and I am going to configure my DNS server. As I don't have static IPs, if you are working in an organization, then contact your administrator for the static IPs. As I don't have static IPs, I am using IPs of my Wi-Fi. For this, I need IP configurations. Now I am going to get my IP configurations using command prompt. So here are the IPs. The IP of my machine is 192.168.8.100. I am using it as a DNS server. So go to network settings, go to your Ethernet, network and sharing center, properties, internet protocol, and now obtain the following IP addresses. Here we have to use the static IP addresses, but as I am using my internet and I don't have static IPs, that's why I am using this type of configurations. 168.8 and 100. Subnet mask, gateway. I am using preferred DNS server IP as the IP of this machine, as I am using it as DNS server. Okay, implemented. Close. Now come to your DNS server, tools, DNS. Okay. Now do configurations for your Azure Active Directory. Add a new forest. I'm going to add a forest of dot technology.com. Next. Okay. Set your password. Okay, next. Okay. Next. It will get NetBIOS domains name for you. And here it is. Next. Next. Okay, next. Now it is verifying your domain. It has been installed. Now in this duration I am going to install AD Connect on my AD Connect domain controller, virtual machine. Here is my AD Connect virtual machine. I am going to install Azure AD Connect on it. Download it. It is going to install Azure AD Connect on this server. Okay, save. It will take almost 2 to 3 minutes. Here AD Connect has been downloaded. Now I am going to install it. Continue. Customize. Now in our DC server, we are going to configure our DNS. As forward lookup zones have been configured, we are going to configure reverse zone, lookup zone, new zone, next, okay, next. Here we have to add the first 8 bytes of the, which is also known as the network ID, IP address. Next, and finish it. Now here refresh it. Reverse lookup zones and new pointer. Browse DC server forward lookup. So after installing AD Connect, I am going to do the configurations, IP configurations in my AD Connect VM. IP config, enter, network settings, center, Ethernet, properties, and Internet Protocol version 4. Use the following IPs. IP of this machine is subnet mask, now I am using the DNS server of as a DNS server my DC server machine on which I have configured DNS. $100. Okay. Close. The two requirements for our AD Connect VM is that they should be on same network with our DNS server and they should be domain joined. Now I am going to domain join my AD Connect VM with my DNS. I'm going to enter the domain technology.com. Okay. Now it is asking me for credentials. Okay. So let's see. Here now my AD Connect's VM is domain joined with my DNS server. Okay. Now my computer will be restarted. Okay. Now in my Azure portal I am going to create a new user, to which I am going to assign the role of global administrator, which is necessary for the AD Connect synchronization. New user name, let's take it as test admin. Okay. Test user, test user, and auto generated password. Let me create the password. Create. Assigned roles, assignment, global administrator role, add. Okay. Now I am going to reset its password. ZUH. Okay. Now sign in by this account. Now in my AD Connect server, I am going to sign in as the administrator of domain, as the administrator of domain. Okay. Going to my AD server, and here I am going to add some users in my Active Directory. Named it as let's suppose okay, password. Similarly, add another user. Okay, now I'm just setting the security configurations as off in both VMs. Okay, I have to check my DNS server configurations in here. DNS reverse lookup has been added. Pointer, browse, okay. Tools properties. Add the forwarders as okay. Add another one. Okay. And okay. Now I'm going to my AD Connect server, where I'm going to give the credentials of my Active Directories to sync. Here I'm using Express settings. Express settings are by default for password hash synchronization. Okay, Azure AD. Now I'm going to copy the credentials of my user which I have been created in my Active Directory with global administrator role. Just copy it. Next, now it is asking for my domain and credentials. See here, my ADs start to synchronize. See, my synchronization have been done. Now I am going to my Azure Active Directory to see whether my contacts have been synced or not. See, my contacts have been synced to my Active Directory in Azure. Now I will sign in my Azure account with one of these contacts to confirm that if it's valid or not.